I did yoga again this week. Okay.
Last night?
Yeah, last night.
Okay.
And the instructor said, "All right, it's a little cold in here, so you guys can have your socks on for now. But when it gets warmed up, I'll remind you, and you guys can take your socks off." So halfway through, she goes, "Oh, see, you guys are going to be sliding," and I was like, "I'm good, actually." She's like, "Oh, you're going to want to. You guys are all going to want to take your socks off." And probably wouldn't have batted an eye 10 years ago at somebody asking me to take my socks off. But now I feel like somebody's trying to get a look at my dogs.
So why can't you have socks on
It was
when you're yogaing?
It was slippery a little bit. Like,
because you're on a mat.
Yeah, they called it downward doggy style.
That's what I was going to say. So downward doggy style is the best. Is it a legitimate like yoga instructor?
Oh, yeah. She has a place and she does a real class at her place. And I believe we pay her to come and do it at our work.
And so how many people go? Like
5, average of 5.
So what made you want to sign up?
I used to do yoga.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'll tell you what.
Yoga's hard. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Yoga's fucking tough.
You get out of it what you put into it.
Do you feel
like having a baby?
Sure. Do you feel like it's I don't want to say making you healthier?
Yeah, but I would feel that way.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I was this much sore. I was this much sore when I got done.
Is it 30 minutes?
An hour.
An
hour.
Hour of yoga?
And then she did the thing, what's it called at the end? There's a word for it, where you really just you lay down. Everything's quiet. It's going for I'll say a 4 or 5 minutes.
So the end is, all right, everybody, now it's time.
And then you think of picture your head, relax it. Picture your eyelids, relax them. Picture your nostrils, relax them. Everything. And then just clear your day away. It's real, it's kind of, I don't want to call it mumbo jumbo, but I don't get down with that stuff.
I also don't get down with your video.
Fuck. Interesting.
So, okay. So we are having a really, not a challenging time, but cameras are fucking hard. And we've been going through this ongoing battle of fucking positioning of tripods. And so right now I have 2 cameras in my crotch.
The people need to see this. Hold on.
Yeah. Take a picture of those fucking cameras and
post that later.
Yeah. So that's been kind of fucking annoying, right? I mean,
it definitely is.
Right?
Yeah, we need a better setup.
We need to figure this out because no one else is doing it like this, I feel like.
You know what this feels like? A casting couch is what this feels like.
And so
go ahead. Say into the camera your name and how old you are.
And I need to see some ID.
With today's newspaper.
And so is my camera even straight?
It looks hella crooked.
It does look hella crooked, right? So we don't know.
You know what? We're just a couple of fucking amateurs.
Yeah, apparently camera work is not our thing. And that's okay.
Audio
is our thing. Camera work is, you know what though? I feel like every week it gets better.
Just do a little better each time.
That's it. You never really win. You just do a little better. But so today we went to the Chinese buffet.
Oh my God.
Chinese buffets. So they are, we've talked about the order when you go to a buffet, the order of eating food.
Yeah.
They're a dying breed, right?
Are they?
How many buffets are there in Delaware? Name 2.
The one that we just went to. Mm-hmm. That's all I got. I'm just kidding. I'm sure that there's more.
Where? Pizza Hut's dead. You remember? Do you remember the Wendy's buffet?
No, that was not a thing.
It was. They used to have the Mexican buffet.
Wendy's had a Mexican buffet?
They sure did.
You sure you don't mean Taco Bell?
Well, a Taco Bell buffet would be fucking fire.
Just all the burritos you could eat.
Wendy's had a buffet. Yeah.
I don't know.
like the
Elaborate. I can't.
It was
I
like
can't
the mid
remember.
'90s, and it was like a salad and like a Mexican style buffet, and they had these like real puffy tortilla shells, and yeah, it was so good. But I went to Wendy's last night for dinner.
Oh, I'm sorry. I
Dude.
thought we agreed we were never going to go
Yeah,
back to
well,
Wendy's.
so the McDonald's is closed in Middletown for a couple weeks,
Okay.
and so we went there, and dude, it was garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, fast food's fast food. Like I like fast food. I love fast food.
Yeah. It's part of us.
It's part of who we are.
So why I brought up the yoga instructor asking us to take our socks off, I was talking to my kids and they said, and I told them that story.
Yeah.
And they said, and they're the ones that said, Silas said, he said, oh, she wanted to see your dogs. And here's the thing, it's child innocence. Like they don't know that like there's foot fetish. They don't know that there's a such thing as a foot fetish. But he called him, she wanted to see your dogs. And then he said, hey, yo, like when he said it. So like, I feel like he kind of knows that there's something with feet.
What is it? Because boy, are my dogs barking.
Sure they are. But were foot fetishes a thing 20 years ago? Oh, it was. You know why? From Dusk Till Dawn, Quentin Tarantino had a straight up foot fetish.
Loves them.
What is he sucking on Salma Hayek's toes?
Because for whatever reason, she hasn't aged, but she was also in that movie.
Yeah, she still looks as great as she did today.
So
she did then.
You don't care about, you're indifferent to feet, or you do not like feet?
I'm indifferent.
I've been watching a lot of porn recently, and I don't know. I mean,
porn more than usual, or the normal
same amount, but
okay.
Dude's fucking her and just starts sucking on her toes.
Now I think I could get down with that,
but like you're doing too much, right? I mean, like you have to be fresh out of the shower.
Of course.
Because if not, your feet are going to be like black.
Where you've been walking.
Dirt.
And then you just go.
And then you just...
like you were chewing tobacco.
or so this
what do they call those things? Spittoons?
So this dude, his stepmom comes to visit. And he's at at college.
Mm-hmm.
And he's giving her a foot massage. And then just starts eating her out.
Of course,
and
as
then,
one does with their stepmom.
And then they fuck. And then the next morning, she wakes up. And she said, "Let's be a little dirty, baby," and just starts eating his asshole.
Was this okay? See, I like that.
And I was like, "Oh, okay."
I like watching that on porn, depending on the angle.
It wasn't like zoomed into his ass. It was.
I mean, okay, so the angle and the position, because I don't think there's anything worse than seeing a dude get doggy style and having somebody eat his ass. Oh no!
Stop.
No, I don't want to see a dude get doggy style and then turn around and say, "Oh yeah, get me."
Yeah, I'd pull it up, but we're recording on my phone, so he gets on all fours.
Okay.
And she said, "Yeah, let's be a little dirty, baby." Starts eating his ass and jerking him off.
Okay, like the rusty tromboner.
Yeah.
She's like, she's doing one of these.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. And then they fuck again.
Okay.
And then so the husband calls and she's like,
his dad?
Yeah. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. I fell asleep. Our son is really sick right now." But meanwhile, she's sucking his dick while
she's making him feel better.
Yeah. So, but to go back to that, like he was sucking on her feet. But another video I watched, horny mom fucks exchange student.
Okay.
And sucked on her toes for a good 15 minutes.
So I think that you're in the algorithm for feet. And you do like feet.
I love feet.
Yeah.
So feet.
So like, if you go to the beach, is that like prime time? Your head's just like down?
No, because they're all sandy. I just like
sandy
a
toes?
nice set of feet wrapped around a penis.
How are you with, do you like foot jobs?
Love them.
Yeah.
Love them.
But is the dexterity there for the toes to do anything good?
No, it's all just kind of rubbing.
Okay.
It's like starting a fire.
Wait, what about, is it toes or is it the foot? The arches of the foot?
Like just the center.
Not the toes?
Not the toes.
Okay.
Just the meat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I took my feet and I put them together like this.
But I have flat feet. So like I would give a mediocre fucking foot job.
It would probably feel like you're stomping all over.
Anyone looking to get a foot job from me, it's going to be
Stop looking.
Yeah, it's going to be mediocre AF.
Or you could say, look no further.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard, like, because I know some people that hate feet, and feet too. When you think about them, where are you most likely, besides like your dick, gonna get warts? Your fingers and your feet. You know what I mean? Like, so I also don't want you to rub warty feet on my dick.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. Have you ever had warts? I feel like I might have had one on my foot before.
I definitely have. So that's why I don't.
You're supposed to freeze it off, right?
I went to the not the proctologist, the podiatrist.
Okay. The foot doctor.
And she fucking
Dr. Scholl.
Dr. Scholl took a razor, scraped them, and then poured a blistering agent that comes from a blister beetle.
What?
And it bubbles it up, and it's excruciatingly painful. But then you do that. I did it for 3 months straight. Gone.
Do they call the blister beetle because of that, or do they call blisters because of the blister beetle?
Evidently, the blister beetle, causes, if it gets on you to blister because it secretes something. So they take this liquid and they,
Wait, so they use the cause of the blister to get rid of the blister?
And so the blister forms around the wart, and then it kills it, is my understanding. And then you do that enough times. So like, even if you get your wart, if you freeze it, it's not going to be one and done. Like, you have to keep getting the treatment, right? So they add the blistering agent.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know nothing about warts.
I haven't had them since.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Modern medicine works, people.
Sure. Now, what about witches' cauldrons? You think they ever used?
They use like
beetles,
frog's breath, fucking
locks of
hair, apples. There were always apples floating around.
That was the vessel. That's what they would poison, right?
That's how Snow White got it.
Okay.
Speaking of Snow White, did you see the trailer for the new Snow White movie coming out? So it's live action, of course.
As Disney's doing, yeah.
But the 7 dwarves are, I don't know if they're people that have just been CGI'd to be little, or if they're not even actually dwarves. So a bunch of like little people are pissed, like, yo, you should have hired us. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay, hear me out on this subject.
Yep.
You know what I just watched last night? Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
That's number 3.
It's number 2.
Okay. All right. I just pissed
Temple
off
of
a ton of fucking wet Indiana Jones fans.
Ark of the Covenant, Temple of Doom, The Last Crusade. And you could call that the last one, but there were still at least 2 more. I think they do Crystal Skull and then Dial of Destiny.
Did you see Dial of Destiny?
I did not.
What about the Pick of Destiny?
Was that Tenacious D? I did see that. Dave Grohl's the devil.
Yeah, they do the cock push-ups.
But so we were looking at that, and I saw a guy that I thought was John Rhys Davies, who was in the first Indiana Jones movie.
Okay.
He was the guy with like the fez, and he was Indy's helper. I forget the character's name, but he also plays Gimli in Lord of the Rings.
So he's old.
John Rhys Davies? Sure. Yeah. John Rhys Davies is old.
Wait, I know that name.
Probably. He's probably in other things, but he's most known for Gimli. And then I think, and I'm pretty sure, because I looked last night on his IMDb, Indiana Jones.
Is he not the guy from Game of Thrones?
No.
That plays, I
don't think so.
Or House of the Blood or House of the Dragon?
I don't think he's in that. I could be wrong.
Okay, so Indiana Jones.
But here's where I'm getting to. So that motherfucker played a dwarf in Lord of the Rings. Guess how tall he is?
How tall is he?
6'1".
See, you're taking jobs away from people, right? Like,
so there were actual literal dwarves that they passed on to play that role, and picked a giant.
Didn't like Ewoks, weren't they played by little people?
Yes.
Warwick Davis.
Yes.
Right? And he went on to play a lot of little people. The Leprechaun, Flintcock or Flint Grip or whatever from Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
The other guy from Harry Potter.
Probably a lot of little guys from Harry Potter.
Yeah, he also played a bunch of little people.
Yep.
But is Sean Connery in number 2? Is he still his dad?
Number 3. He was always his dad, but he was only revealed in number 3.
Oh, really? He's not in 1 or 2?
No. He's revealed in number 3, and they start the movie with a flashback, and I believe it shows him, Indy, as a kid, and he shows how he gets that little scar on his lip, and he gets it by first using a bullwhip, probably on a snake. I forget. It's been a long time since I watched 3.
Because Indiana Jones loves snakes. Like, isn't that the whole? Why's it got to be snake?
Yup. And that's the only thing. So, like in this movie, in number 2, which I'd only seen Temple of Doom once before.
Yeah.
And I remember it being really bad. But I watched it again last night, and it was good. I mean, it was good. It was an Indiana Jones movie. You know, this thing is kind of like they reach into his fucking chest and goes Kali Ma and pulls their fucking heart out,
Still beating.
and then they lower him into the fire. And as they start to catch on fire, the guy and the wound heals,
Of course,
so it's like
yeah.
closed again.
Yeah.
And then as they get lower down and their body starts to catch on fire, the guy's just holding the heart. And when their body is engulfed in flames, the heart catches on fire and just starts dripping out of the guy's hands. Ram something is the bad guy's name.
Stein.
Ram Stein.
Yeah, I feel like Indiana Jones, like, so the people that are wet for Indiana Jones, I feel like, one, were obsessed with Harrison Ford, but also they were obsessed with River Phoenix, who was young Indy in like the young Indy movies. Or I don't know if it was a show or
Young Indy? I
Yeah,
don't know, I don't know
yeah.
this. I don't even know who Rivers Phoenix is.
that was Joaquin Phoenix's brother,
Okay.
and he died drug overdose.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure he was, and you heard it here first on Daddies the podcast. I don't know if this is true. I'm pretty sure he and Drew Barrymore. I mean, because Drew Barrymore was a huge drug addict.
Was she?
Oh yeah. What is that place, or where is that place where everyone used to go to Club 66 or whatever, where everyone would go?
Club 69.
Club 69, right? And they would go to this place and get loaded. And I think she was there when he OD'd, like on the fucking sidewalk.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I knew nothing about this.
Speaking of 69, though.
Okay.
So yesterday I had jury duty.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And so I get called in. So there's a grand jury or a grand trial and a petite trial. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I've only ever been part of a grand.
Okay.
And a grand is saying, like, there's enough evidence to move forward with a trial.
That's the grand.
That's the grand.
Okay.
So you're picking that. A petite is I'm passing guilty or innocent judgment on you.
Not a category in porn.
I mean, it could be.
Okay. Okay.
So you get called in, and the courthouse here in Delaware, it sucks. It's hard to fucking get to. Parking is shit.
Mm-hmm.
They said be here at 8:30. No exceptions. I leave an hour 20 early, like an hour and 20 minutes early. I sat in traffic. I got there at 8:25. Mind you, I only live 33 minutes from the courthouse,
Uh-huh.
and I left at 7 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I get there, I park. I parked in another lot, walk across the street, go through security. You have to take all your stuff out and put it in a bowl.
Yeah. Like you're at the airport.
I walk through, and he says, "Sir, you got to slide your bowl through. I can't make it move from over here. Walk back through and do it again." So then I had to go back through, push the bowl through. So I get there. They were still letting motherfuckers in at 9 o'clock. And why that's annoying to me is I found a perfect seat where it was like somebody, nobody, me, nobody, somebody. So I had no one on either side of me.
Uh-huh.
Of course, someone comes in, sits right next to me, and is fucking sick.
Of course.
Always,
Right.
no matter fucking what. So she comes in, sits out, coughing. Everyone around me's fucking. Ugh. I'm like, I really should have worn a fucking mask being
Maybe.
around all these
Maybe.
motherfuckers.
'Cause now you're about to get me sick.
Yeah, sorry. But so they go through. Judge comes on 2 hours later after they did roll call, and then after roll call, they assigned us all a fucking number. So it went up to 99 groups. I was number 130, right? So and I think the numbers are randomly assigned. Judge comes on and he's like, "Hey, it's for a double homicide, concealing a deadly weapon by a person prohibited." It was a laundry list of shit. And then he went through, if you know detective, named 30. If you know officer, name like 20. If you know forensic scientist, name like 10.
And you say, oh, yeah, I know.
So then they said, is there anything that I just said that would make it where you wouldn't be fair on this trial? Everyone raises their fucking hand. I'm like, a double homicide sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
I keep my hand down. He said, okay, everyone whose hand is not down, stand up and come with me. Take all your belongings. So we go up to the actual courthouse, and the dude who was getting tried, innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
That motherfucker was guilty. You
Right.
could just tell he
Sure.
was guilty.
Sure.
And
You told me a little bit. You said public defendant, looks like Saul Goodman.
public defender, yeah, looked like Saul Goodman. And then the prosecutors were very they were like your stereotypical, like, dude was handsome, she was super good looking, dressed. I mean, they looked as perfect as it gets, right? I wouldn't want them going against me, right? And
they could have made you guilty.
well, yeah, right. And then so the judge is sitting up there. They start at like whatever was closest to one, right? So they have a list of everyone who's up there, and I think number one was like 20. So they go through, they line the 12 on the jurors box, and then they have to pick 6 like alternatives in case you decide, well, I actually turns out I'm a second cousin to Detective so and so, right? So they got to 101. I was 130. So there was no way it was going to be me ever. But they kept sidebarring because I thought this dude was going to plead out right there. But nope. And then I guess you can only strike so many jurors in a case. So he said, okay, that's your 5. And then the
defendant. Sounds like a game.
Well, then the defendant was like, he said, we're content. And then the state's content. And then he wasn't content. And then someone was like, turns out I'm not okay with this case. So then the judge was like, go, you know. And then they got everyone up there. And you could tell, like, who wasn't going to make the cut. Like, the really, like, old white women, they pick who they want. They stack that box with who's going to help your case, right?
Who gets to pick? The prosecutor?
The prosecutors or the defendant. So the person who was getting charged and his lawyer were also striking jurors.
So they get to...
as the person getting charged, you get to be there for the selection process, which is fair. I mean, but dude, like a double murder, and it sounds like it happened in like November of 2023. And it sounds like it was in front of cameras. Like the dude threw, like, I think it's pretty clear cut. And in Delaware, it's weird to me because there is no death penalty. So I don't understand why this dude didn't just, I mean, I don't know what, or
it's not like he was protecting himself from, well, you know what? Maybe he gets lucky, and because he sounds like he's going to go to jail no matter what.
You're going to go to jail. So maybe one of the charges gets dropped, or maybe the gun charge. Okay. So instead of serving 900 years, I don't know what, I mean, so a life sentence is life without parole means you die in prison, right?
Sure. I guess. But has there ever been a time where somebody, hey, you get life without parole
and they get
out?
I guess if you appeal the case or
see, that's different. That is.
So my thing is, like, you should be held accountable for all the crimes you commit, but you shouldn't be held. So, like, say he didn't kill these people, but he had the gun. Then you should still be held accountable for the gun charge,
sure,
but not guilty. But, like, the way he was, like, just, you could tell there was nothing in those eyes. You know, like, it was just somebody who was just a fucking, I don't want to say killer, right? But he's been locked up since 2023. I mean, it happened in Wilmington. It's if you're going to die somewhere in Delaware, it's going to be in Wilmington. But it was cool to get to say I was 29 away from maybe having a shot. My background, definitely, they would have told me to fuck off. But
right. They would have struck
as soon as I sat up there, I would be walking out. But you know, have you ever been called to jury duty?
I sat in the room one time and they say, oh, well, you know, this is your responsibility as a citizen. Do your duty. And they all the cases were settled. So no one had to do anything that day.
Which is why I believe this was, like, I've never done one like this. And it said 0 to 99. And that was probably the big case of the day, right?
Right.
As soon as I went back, they were like, yeah, you're good to go. Like, that was the case they were working on that fucking day.
Shay recently got called to jury duty.
When does she have to go?
So that date already passed. And so did Ryan Jameson.
And, wait, did neither of them go?
So she said, if I don't work, I don't get paid. I'm like, new job, right?
Sure.
So she said that, and they said, okay, we're going to push you back. Okay. So she was going to go, and I mean, she could have gone and spent a day with Ryan at the courthouse, which would be dope.
They were
to know
on
somebody
the same day?
Same day.
Wow.
Cool, right?
What are the odds?
So she got out of it. Her date's pushed back. Yeah. I don't know when. Ryan snapped the group, and he said, guess what? The day was just canceled.
Oh, where they said, we don't need anyone. You're good for 2 years.
So he's good. And since she said that she needed to have it pushed back, she's not good. And she's going to get it again in like, what, 4 months or something?
I'll tell you, I had a date in November and they canceled it. And I just got called 2 months later.
What about, have you ever just tried not going?
So apparently if you don't go, all that happens is you get, okay, you better be at this one then. And then if you don't show up, then I think they can put a warrant out for your arrest, which would be ass if you get pulled over.
Right. That's
then they would say
it gets a whole hell of a lot worse.
Because it's not like they're going to, it's like a day in prison and like, but they're going to fine you and then you're going to have a record, right? Like you're.
A day in prison. You think you could do a day in prison?
I assume a day in prison is not like jail. It's just like you sit there in the Troop 2 holding cell.
Right. Yeah,
but I don't know, because some of those motherfuckers that go through there, like you don't just go to jail. Like you have to sit
process.
So you could in fact be sitting with like a killer.
Sure.
Someone raw dog off the street.
Who might try to raw dog you.
So you go to prison for 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Rest of your life.
Right.
Are you fucking dudes?
I don't think so.
Right.
I think I'm just beating it a lot. But like, that's weird. Do they get conjugal visits?
I don't think that's actually a thing anymore.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet it is in like Texas.
Yeah, that's not, or Florida, maybe.
Definitely Florida.
Ron DeSantis is for conjugal visits. No, I think honestly, like, I'm not fucking dudes.
No.
And I'm going to make damn sure I don't get raped. You know, like I'm going to.
Yeah, you don't want to be somebody's bitch. How do you make sure that you're not somebody's bitch? What's the way to do it?
You don't accept gifts. Hey, here's a candy bar. If somebody you don't acknowledge people, you know what I mean?
You said 30 years.
30 years.
How old am I going to be? I'll be. Oh my god, I'd be an old man.
You'd be an old man, and then you'd come out and you wouldn't be able to get a job.
No, definitely not.
Because I mean, 30
Social
years
Security, Social Security,
and you could work. I think you get paid like 20 cents a day.
Ew.
So you could
that sounds like fucking slavery.
Yeah, but I think well, at least you get paid for this. I don't think you have to work, but I think working, it helps pass the time, man. You go to college.
That's tough. Maybe that's what I would do.
You could read the Bible a whole bunch.
Sure. Or I would convert to Muslim.
You would have to. That's what
become Muslim.
My cousin did when he went to jail.
Sure.
Because he served, I think, 10 years.
And then you know what? Then you get the whole crew. Like you get anybody else that also went Muslim while you were there.
What is it? Orange is the new black. So that way, like, I can only eat kosher food. So that way they have to get the better meals.
Yeah. But you know what I couldn't do without? Pork. I couldn't do without that. Like if they said, oh, well, you can't eat bacon.
Do you think they serve bacon in prison?
Probably not.
Like, what's a prison? When I worked in prison, it was different because the meals were fucking fire.
What about the fucking guy who would do the prison meals? Bussin'. And he would do like, you take your ramen noodle pack and you pour the hot water on it.
Or disgusted.
Right. This one is certified bussin'. You crush up the Cheetos, pour the hot water over the noodles. You mix it and you just go, you put it in a plastic bag.
Put it in a plastic bag
and you put it on the radiator or in the window.
Or like under, or you put it under the bed in a cool spot if it had to chill. Didn't they used to, I mean, I'm sure they still do this. You would take like wires and you would run it into an outlet and then that would boil the water. Right. So like when I worked in prison, the food was good. Right. Because part of what I wanted to do was introduce them to things that they've never had before. Probably. Okay. Right. I mean, when you're dealing with youth who are incarcerated at the age of 12, who have grown up probably like in poverty.
So what were you slinging?
We were slinging like buffalo chicken meatballs. I did like a sesame wiener, a nice sesame glizzy.
Sesame glizzy. Okay. How do you make that?
Soy. You just boil down some like soy sauce and just pour it on top.
Damn it.
Or I bought I think I'd have them just buy the jugs of sauce or whatever. We did like burger. So I tried to do like a different burger. So I did like a nacho burger with jalapeno, salsa, sour cream.
So how could they have any if it wasn't their burger?
They loved like subs, right? Like an Italian sub.
Okay.
Chicken tenders, regular hot dogs, pizza, like all those things. So then I said, okay, why don't we make your own pizza days, right? Like you'd bring them back into the kitchen. They'd make up their own food. They used to have salad bars there, but then they pulled them because the state, and you know what? I will say this on camera. The state of Delaware needs to do better at fucking being goddamn complacent, right? So they said, well, a bunch of kids that were here 10 years ago rioted because they had the option to eat salad. So now we don't do them at all.
Seems pretty arbitrary.
To say, and then
did they riot because of salad?
That's what they said. Well, then they were throwing it around. I was like, well, during a riot, they throw whatever's accessible. So I'd much rather get hit in the face with a fucking tomato than a goddamn chair, right?
Sure.
I mean, and it was one of those things where like the person I worked for was the biggest cunt. Like he was the definition of a fucking cunt.
Was it see you next time?
It was see you next time. And he would say, well, you want to make sure you're not complacent. That fat fuck he had to take a demotion.
He told you to make sure that you weren't complacent?
Yeah. And then he would say, okay, well, hear me out. You put yogurt parfaits on the menu. Well, what happens when they throw them in someone's face? Then you restrain the kid and you fucking charge him with assault. How about that? Right? Like,
what happens when they throw? Well, but they could throw anything.
And then he said, well, maybe we can do that in like the summer. I was like, dude, you're just spouting bullshit. And that's what's so wrong with, you talk about wanting to rehabilitate kids. And that's why I think the recidivism rate is so high, because you do the same thing with these kids and then you don't do anything else to help like change that.
Yeah, that's tough.
It is tough. And like some kids are going to reoffend, right? Like it's going to happen statistically. But like I've been out before and I've seen kids that were in there actually just out and about. Someone was working at Walmart. I was like, good for you, dude. Like,
oh, yeah.
and you know, and then, or some of them go out and commit murder.
Sure.
Right? And it is what it is.
Yeah.
But like, it was so fucking frustrating. But to end on that, like the food was fire. It was fucking good.
You wouldn't expect it to be. So that's good. That's nice. That's
So
nice that you
good.
did that.
Someone who I worked with, who worked, like reported to me, actually used to work for
where we work now.
Yep.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, I guess that happens.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Like he knows people that we still work with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Delaware's a small place. Yeah, definitely.
Delaware is a small place.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. Like, it's just, I think working in that system has really just kind of changed, because I used to be in the mindset like all the kids in that building were fucking bad, right?
Yeah.
Like they were all the worst, and like 90% of them really weren't, you know. And like,
did you ever get in trouble at school to any extent that it was?
Yep.
I did too. Let me tell you my biggest thing. It's so fucking stupid.
Okay.
I had this bottle of ink and I sprayed it on this girl and I started laughing. It was a bottle of invisible ink though. And she started freaking out and crying. And at the time I said, how the fuck could I get in trouble for this? It's gone. Prove
that I did it.
Prove that I did anything. And they sent me somewhere and I was so pissed. And now having kids, I'm like, oh yeah. If there's some little shithead kid spilled something on my daughter and started like laughing and clowning her, I would be pissed. Because it could have been anything.
It could have been anything.
Literally anything.
Was that the biggest thing that you were ever in trouble for?
Yeah, so I guess I was in fights, but never like anything that was
that got you
really bad.
Yeah. I mean, I think we've all been there.
Mm-hmm. What'd you get?
The thing that I ran away from school.
Uh-huh.
So I was doing really bad in 7th grade.
Okay.
Like I discovered rock and roll music, man. And
you wanted to rebel.
Porn.
Stick it to the man. Oh, porn.
Video games.
Wait, I also got in trouble for porn. Go ahead.
So for me, like I just stopped doing schoolwork.
Okay.
So I failed all my classes. So what I did was I forged my report card.
Nice.
Like did you get like the report card? It was in like a brown envelope, and your parents would have to sign off on it.
A small manila envelope. Yep.
So I just forged my dad's name.
Yeah.
Well, they found out because then I hacked into their email and blocked all the teachers. So like,
oh, your parents' email. Okay.
Yeah. And so I remember I had a 4.8% in science. You heard that right? 4, like less than 5%.
That's not the GPA. That's
No, that was my percentage. And so I still talk to his name's Tom. I still talk to him every once in a while. I'll email him. He was my science teacher, and
he said, "You dumb fuck."
So he gave me the progress report. He said, "You really dug yourself in a deep hole. Now have your parents sign this." So I said, "Okay, bet." I went home, got on my parents' email, and I was like, "Hello, I have looked at Greg's progress report. Boy, are we mad!" Send block.
Yeah.
And then they all, and then I think like I was sick or like my mom was going through my backpack and she found like an idiot. And this is what happens. Like, you know, you always hear like serial killers keep something or like robbers. I kept a report card in my fucking backpack.
Should have burned that shit.
I was good at flushing everything down the toilet. That's what I was doing.
Missed one.
She found it. I remember I was so cute. Are you failing all your classes? I was like, what are you talking about, Mom? And then I said, you know what? Fuck this place. I went to school the next day. I got my buddy Justin, who R.I.P. I said, let's blow this joint, man. So we ran away for something so stupid. Like all my parents said pretty much like, all right, just do better. We'll help you. Just stay after school.
Said, you're in trouble, mister. And you said, this is the worst.
This is dumb. And really it was just, we'll help you get your grades up. Like, you'll be fine, whatever.
I thought you said, let's blow this joint. I thought they were going to get you for a bomb threat.
Oh, no. So I said, let's blow this joint. We left right before first period, right?
Didn't you tell me that let's blow this popsicle stand is a gay thing?
I think it means let's suck some dick, right? Or there's a lot of dick there. But I don't think that's actually
I don't
the case.
think that's
I
what
think
that is.
Sausage Fest
That's
a
sausage fest. Okay. But go on.
So,
You're going to blow this popsicle stand.
So I said, yeah, let's blow this popsicle stand. So we ran away. We went to the neighborhood right down the street.
Okay.
It was still being built.
Okay.
We went to a house that was being built. We put up like wood to block the garage. I bought a bag of chips and a 2-liter of soda.
Wait, that's the dream.
And then we went up there with some playing cards. And I was like, this is our life now, man. And then we were like,
grifters,
grifters
or drifters.
and
Yeah.
we were like, well, let's go get some dinner. So we were walking down the street and Justin's Daddies here, honk, 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 finds us. So then I get home and we're driving home and Mom's like, do you not love me anymore? And it was like, life's just too hard, Mom. And so then the police show up at my house. Because running away from home when you're 16 is illegal.
Okay.
Or,
Wait, you were 16?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I wasn't 16. I was in 7th grade. So I was 12. I was 12 years old.
Okay.
And so the cop comes in. He said, what a little spoiled. He said, you turn around. Get in the car.
Did he cuff you?
He didn't cuff me, but he threw me in the car. He said, you like this, bro? Is this what you like? You little spoiled brat, bro? And he kept using the word bro excessively. And it was like, dude, like he was just like this overweight fucking cop. Yeah. And it's like, yo, you're the reason why a lot of people hate cops. You are the definition of just annoying, right? And so yeah, and then not only that, in school suspension for a fucking week.
That makes sense.
I mean, because I left school grounds.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So then I ended up actually, they pushed me out of 7th grade into 8th grade. I was that bad.
They just advanced you.
I failed every class and they said, you're fine.
They said, we don't want him.
You're good.
Oh no. That's the No Child Left Behind Act, right? Probably.
That's, and I don't know if it was supposed to be for my case, like that was a more like get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
But yeah, so then that was the only time I was almost arrested.
My porn thing, I was a sneaky little shit and I snuck into my stepdad's bedroom and I stole his, like, go in the underwear drawer and it's where he keeps his porn. And it was like a magazine. So back then it was like a magazine, like, oh, buy this product. Here's the serial code.
Yeah.
Here's the serial key.
Yeah.
And call the number and say, I want Big Bimbo Sluts, issue 79.
Love volumes 1 through 6.
They're actually highly regarded.
So good.
And I didn't know. I forget. I must have been in, I'll say 8th grade. Probably around the same time where you were getting in your trouble. And I didn't know what this was or that this wasn't normal, but there was a lot of tranny stuff in there. And I was back I had drawing class, not drafting, drawing class.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was a bunch of kind of weird, anime weeaboo kids that like to draw their anime stuff. Yeah. And I would draw Calvin and Hobbes stuff. And you would trace it, put it up on the projector. But there was this one kid. So I drew Calvin with a big old pussy. No. Calvin's mom had a big hog.
Sure. That's all you know.
And no, so the kid in the back, he had this binder. He would draw things like that. Female characters from Dragon Ball Z.
Big old
naked,
Katie.
Big naked.
Okay.
titty characters.
All right. Wait, that kid was awesome.
So then, so he was. I loved it. It was very cool. And I said, I gotta bring something to the table.
I gotta show my man.
So I brought this magazine in and I put it in my binder, but it was just a magazine. It wasn't like drawings. And we're looking at it. And he goes, oh shit, bro. And the teacher goes, he knows what it is, and he comes over and he walks over. He has,
what are you giving?
Give it to me. He handed it over, and I was like, oh, do you mean this? And I pull open to like just the Calvin and Hobbes drawing that like very clearly we weren't freaking out about.
Come on.
And then he goes through and he flips through, and I remember him going, and takes the glasses down to the end of his nose, and he goes, oh God. And he calls the vice principal, because the principal was a woman.
So he called the dude.
So he called the guy because it's not appropriate no matter what, but it was very inappropriate. And he said, what if there was a female teacher teaching that class? And then they were like, where did you find it? Or where did you get this from? And I said, I found it in the road, because I didn't want to get in trouble for fucking stealing. Like, they weren't going to tell my parents anyway.
You were getting a phone call home.
So I get in trouble, and then I remember like whatever the punishment was, whatever. It's not even important.
You had to just watch the videos with your stepdad. That was
and I'll tell you what, it was a little bit before then. I got, for the first time in my life, my own bedroom. We had the basement redone, and I had my own bedroom. Otherwise, I shared a bedroom with my little brother.
Okay.
So I had my own bedroom, and 2 weeks later, you know what I find on my bed? A Playboy. Because they wanted to say, hey, this is what's like the normal stuff.
Wow.
And you know what episode it was? Or what do they call magazine?
Yes.
Not episode.
Issue.
Yeah, it was the issue. The wife, Ben Stiller's fiance from Meet the Parents.
Okay.
And guess where she's from?
From Delaware.
She's from Delaware.
What is her name?
I don't know.
So I have a kind of similar story.
Okay.
However, so my dad, when he was done with his Playboys, he would just throw them into the trash can, like downstairs.
When he was done with them, like
like they were all like stuck to all the pages.
All the pages were
together,
sticky.
Yeah. And so I would dig them out.
Sure. Right.
Dug it
Old.
out, brought it to school.
Yeah.
Show it in the bathroom. So this dude starts looking at it and just starts farting.
He starts farting? He sees porn and he just goes to fart?
Well, so I should have known, right? He was like, you know what doggy style is, right? And I was like, no. And he said, yeah, it's when, your partner bends over and you fuck him up the ass. So it turns out 20 years later, he's extremely gay. So the doggy style he was watching was...
he's not wrong. He's not wrong for his case.
But I told Megan that. Like my sister, and she went and told my mom.
Yeah.
My mom was like, that's not what that is.
But they don't even probably talk about that stuff. That guy just brought that up out of the blue after you showed him just a Playboy. Because that's more of a hustler
Okay,
thing.
but so I used to hang out with people and they were like, well, make sure you don't like jerk off because that's gay. You don't want to jerk off. And I was like, oh, I don't know what to do then because
I have all these feelings.
Yeah. So yeah. And then, I tell my sister that, and she tells my fucking mom for some reason.
To call her snitch.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. It's frustrating because like you shouldn't bring Playboys to school, right? No. But you didn't get suspended for it.
No. I think all my punishments were always like in school.
In school suspension, which actually is ass. Out of school suspension, dope.
Kicks ass because I just play Super Smash Brothers all day.
Well, yeah, because it was excused. Yep. ISS is trash because you actually have to do work, but you have to do work isolated.
Yep.
And it's like prison. All right, lunchtime, get up. Don't talk to anybody.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad.
But then you think about how short compare a school day to an actual work day, right? School days are hella short. Like, right, you just sit in 8 classes.
But at that age, it's the only thing that you know.
It's the only thing that you know, and it's literally the end of the fucking world because like that's what you're doing.
It's the worst.
It's the worst.
Sorry. Shay just texted me. Okay, she's gonna hate me for this. This is out of the blue. I've never gotten anything like this from her before. Something similar. It says, I literally had a huge shit today and it had steam coming off of it. Has this ever happened to you?
You know what? Yeah. It must have been cold in that bathroom.
Must have been.
The heat.
The heat was coming off of it. You could roast a marshmallow off that thing.
It's like, yeah. I mean, have you ever been with anyone that took a shit on a car?
No. It sounds like you might have.
So we went to a concert, and this dude, sorry Steve if you're listening, this dude Fatty was his name. We used to hang out and call him Fatty.
Okay, but now I know his real name is Steve.
No. This was to Steve. This happened.
Oh!
He said, I'm going to take a shit on Steve's car.
Oh, no.
And he did, and it looked like a Coke can. It was so thick and fat. Turns out it was Steve's parents' car.
Oh.
And he
at a concert?
It was like it was a zombie concert.
Okay.
And we went, and you know, I went with Kevin,
which is a great name for a band, by the way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Fatty drove up.
Okay.
With our boy Tater.
Okay.
Or they
Fatty and Tater. They sound like
two and a half hours away in Pennsylvania.
Wow.
We met them on Xbox.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
They lived Wilkes-Barre.
Okay. Yeah, I know Wilkes. I know how you spell it.
Wilkes-Barre.
Barre. Wilkes.
Around there.
Yeah. All right. Yeah,
it was a drive.
Who I'm thinking of, Crab and Goyle from Harry Potter. When you say their names, would you say Fatty and
Tater and Fatty? The big Tater.
Okay.
We used to call him Tater.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually both Zach. Both of their names are Zach.
Okay, so does the nicknames?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. But yeah, he took a shit on a car, and that was the first time that I've ever seen someone shit on a car before, and the only time.
It's yeah. I can't imagine it happens often. Shitting in public, especially like a spectacle like that, is weird because what do you do with your like dick?
Also, how do you wipe?
Oh, you don't.
You don't. So that's
that.
What is that called? What is it called when you poop and don't wipe and you don't have any streaks in your undies?
So it's called It's called a clean. Is it a clean pinch?
Because a Peter Pan is when the poop goes up and disappears in the toilet bowl.
When it just goes, and
it's gone.
Where poop?
Where it go?
But here's my thing. You don't know if it's clean.
Until
you
you
wouldn't know
wipe.
if it's been a clean wipe. So every wipe, you have to go at least 2 wipes.
Because it's most likely going to be clean if you don't break it. If
Hopefully.
you don't. But yeah, right. But
yeah, if you don't have to pinch it.
But I shit so much that it just because you run out of like breath.
There's been one in my recent history where I remember having to push so hard it almost made me black out.
You just fucking get dizzy.
And I don't know what it was. I wish I remembered what it was because I would not do that again. Like eat whatever I ate or like would you not chew your food? Like is that what does it?
Yeah, because I mean you shit out like corn, so you're swallowing corn whole essentially because it's coming out whole, right? But that means you're swallowing it whole.
I mean, I guess yeah, you're probably
it
not chewing
doesn't
your food.
form it back up in your tummy, right?
No.
Do you ever watch those videos of like this is what would happen if you got swallowed by a whale, and it like shows the like if you don't suffocate you're gonna burn. Like the acid in the tummy is just going to fucking kill. It's not like in the movies where they got the little lighter.
Just walking around.
Or the pool like lamp and they pull the light on and there's just a whole
pull his uvula.
But I guess you could in theory a whale could eat you.
A whale could eat you and you would die.
You would definitely fucking die.
Unless your name is Jonah. Right?
Because
it's a Bible story, right? That you eaten by a whale.
Do we want to start ending our episodes with
a Bible study? Yes.
We should, right?
No.
Daddy's the Bible study. Yeah, that's not who we are.
No. It's probably a metaphor though.
Probably for something about giving money to God. It all kind of comes back to that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, until next week.
Yep.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.